Greetings, and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. This will be the first video in the Unorthodox Weirdery playlist. This particular playlist will focus more on my philosophy towards Spellcraft, as well as giving a weirdo's perspective on various topics affecting the occult community at large. As such, nothing that I say on this playlist should be taken as guild policy or position on any issue. Okay, now that that's out of the way, the first issue of Unorthodox Weirdery that we are going to cover is the idea of natural-born witches versus normals or muggles. Okay, well, first I want to say that there is no thick, solid line between the two. There is a difference. There are people that are born with an innate skill. There are different skills that people are born with. It's not just, oh, well, natural witches have this, this, and that. Well, there are people that are born really good at lucid dreaming and just do it naturally. Have no trouble. In fact, have trouble having normal dreams. You'll sometimes see people posting in groups, how do I stop this lucid dreaming? Okay, well, you're a natural lucid dreamer, pretty clearly, yeah? If you can't resist it and it just starts happening on its own, well, then you're natural to it. Now, that's not saying that those who weren't born lucid dreamers can't have a lucid dream, or can't even get as good at it as those that were born natural to it. It's like any other skill. Any type of spellcraft is like any other skill. Look at it like baseball, yeah? Technically, anyone can swing a bat. Anyone with enough practice can hit a ball. And with enough practice, we can all hit home runs, but not all of us are making it to the professionals. Well, it's kind of the same with spellcraft. There are some people that have more aptitude for it. With enough practice, you might get to the professionals from any level with spellcraft if you're determined enough, because it is something that can be learned, and it's not a physical skill. But there are people that are better at it naturally. And again, as I said, there's more than one type of quote-unquote natural witch. I have met people that were just born with a skill out of nowhere. They don't have hereditary family lines of any kind. They weren't born with a special mark or anything. They just, some reason, knew how to cast a spell. And they've never been able to explain it, but they're pretty good at it. In the end, it's results that matter. And if you're born with something and you were able to do it and achieve results, well, then I suppose you're a natural witch. But then what is a muggle? Or a normal? That is someone that is born without these natural talents. And there are extreme versions of muggles. There are, as many of you know, people that are very hostile to the idea of witchcraft. These people, well, if anybody's a muggle, I would say that they are. And even then, perhaps if they were somehow forced to learn the craft, heck, they might have a good skill at it. Who knows? But they are non-practicing and they are hostile and resistant to the idea of magic. If anybody's a normal, a mundane, a muggle, whatever you want to call it, that would be the group, I would say. And I have met people, even in one case I met someone from hereditary lines. Born to the craft, raised in the craft. Didn't really have any skill. Didn't get results. Was able to memorize lots of stuff from books. Had the bloodlines. But if you can't manifest your will, are you really a natural born witch? So as I said, it's a fine line. It's not even black. It's very light gray. It's hard to judge. But at the same time, there are people that are born with no choice. Like I said, there's people with these lucid dreams that just start having them out of nowhere. There are people that have magic coming out of them, and they've had to learn to deal with that idea. So, perhaps these are our natural born witches. But I want to get on with this, while I'm on this idea, I also want to discuss something else that was brought up in relation to this, the idea that everything we do is magical. There's some argument for this. In the idea that our lives themselves could be seen as a spell. According to the law of aesthetics, living is an art form that takes place between life and death. Therefore, living is intent, and the law of aesthetics, as we know from previous videos, is one of the things that affect spellcraft. So, if we are living in an art form, well, there we go, there's our form. If we have something we are doing in our lives, we may not always have purpose, but we have intent. Walking up, we want to go over there, that's an intent. We got a form, and then we're giving that energy, so it's a charge, and then you get a release as you perform the thing. So it could be argued that life itself is a spell. But at the same time, if that's the case, then what is magic? Well, I don't go into a trance every time I walk out of my chair. I don't enter gnosis every time I choose to do anything. And I think it's important that we make a distinction between the things we are doing that are simply us existing, and what is the things that we are doing with an intent beyond our own personal sphere. You know, the intent of reaching to grab a cup. Okay, it's got intent, it's got form, it's got charge, it's even got release. But you're not trying to affect things outside of your own sphere, outside of your own body. You're simply reaching forward. You're not altering the lines of probability. You're not weaving fate. Therefore, it could be argued that perhaps there's some magic involved, but it is not spellcraft. Okay, I think I've rambled on about this long enough. I will be getting back to the Sorcerer's Shadow Volume 1 with that'll be the next thing I film. This playlist will be ongoing as the other playlists continue. If you don't like this playlist, that's fine. You don't have to watch these ones. If they become unpopular, I will simply put them as unlisted and add them to the playlist. Like I said, this one is about my personal philosophy and my opinion on occult matters. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now, and don't forget to join us next time. Until then, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.